There's always going to be divided opinions when it comes to ranking the best Pokémon games. With so many fantastic options spanning the generations, we all have strong feelings about our Pokémon adventures. Whether it's because we grew up playing a certain entry, or there's one that holds a special place in your heart for one reason or another. This list focuses on core games from the most recent additions like Pokémon Legends Arceus and Pokémon Sword and Shield, to the series origins with Pokémon Red and Blue, and more. So let's take a look at our rankings of the best Pokémon games to date. Pokémon Diamond and Pearl didn't do anything too groundbreaking, but one notable thing it did do was bring Pokémon trading into the modern age. Instead of using a link cable, it made use of the Nintendo DS's Wi-Fi connectivity to trade Pokémon with other players. While some other new features did come into play too, most of them building on things previously introduced in Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, it does also deserve some credit for its story. The evil Team Galactic conducts science experiments to try and take control of the legendaries in the Sinnoh region in some rather weird ways. Pokémon X and Y took Pokémon into the world of 3D on the Nintendo 3DS and was a significant change from titles before it. It truly marked the start of a new era, with the charming sprites of yesteryear turned into gorgeous 3D models, elevating battle sequences to all new animated height. The Pokémon Ami system was also introduced for the first time, which lets you interact with your Pokémon companions and form bonds with them. It was a welcome touch that finally let you pair and play with your favorite battling buddies. X and Y also brought in a lot more customization, allowing you to change the look and style of your trainer. It also introduced yet more interesting Pokémon, including the new addition of the Fairy type, as well as new social features. Arceus is as close as the franchise has gotten to a reboot in its long history. It's the first game that really opens up the world, giving you the chance to run into Pokémon in the wild, just like you would if we actually lived in a world populated by pocket monsters. With an incredible story that takes you back in time and new gameplay elements that give the series a bit of a refresh, Pokémon Legends Arceus is a fantastic addition to the franchise that takes the tried and true formula and expands it outwards. Pokémon Sword and Shield was the first entry in the core series to land on Switch and introduced the Galar region, a delightful setting based on the UK, as well as Galarian form Pokémon variants. Getting to bond with your mons using the new camp feature was also a welcome touch. In our review, we said it's a Pokémon game for the new generation, thanks to some of the more accessible features it introduced, allowing new players to ease into the formula we know and love. While it might be a touch easier than the entries in the series, Sword and Shield offers a fantastically memorable experience, with a cast of colourful characters and Pokémon, and is easily the best looking Pokémon game to date. While a lot of the formula remained unchanged, Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire took the series into a vibrant world of colour on the Game Boy Advance, letting the Pokémon sprites pop from the screen like never before. This was also the first Pokémon game to introduce a lot of elements and features that continued throughout the series. Things like 2v2 double battles appeared for the first time, and Pokémon were also attributed with different natures which affected their overall stats. An extensive list of new abilities were also introduced, which were specific to different types, adding more depth into battles. Contests were also brought in to add new challenges. The Hoenn region was also a great setting, with some memorable legendary Pokémon in the shape of Groudon and Kyogre. Going back to where it all began, Pokémon Red and Blue set us on the path to be the very best like no one ever was, and we haven't looked back since. The world of Kanto still feels just as magical as it ever did, and the original 151 Pokémon are still the most memorable in the franchise's history, right down to the classic starters Bulbasaur, Squirtle and Charmander. The Game Boy graphics have a nostalgic charm you don't quite get with the later entries, and it's still very playable to this day, which is a testament to just how good it is. After Pokémon Red and Blue put the world into a Pokémon frenzy, the sequel had some big shoes to fill, and thankfully, Gold and Silver delivered. Bigger and better than before, the second generation introduced 100 excellent and memorable additions to the Pokemon library, along with 2 new Pokemon types and a whole host of new moves. It introduced a day and night cycle, added time-specific challenges, and brought in Pokemon that could only be caught at certain times of the day. Gold and Silver had all the hallmarks that made the first game so enjoyable, but expanded on the experience to cement itself as the superior Pokemon game. And better yet, when you reached the end of the game, you unlocked the Kanto region from Red and Blue, which allowed you to revisit all of the gyms and trainers. So that's our ranking of the best Pokemon games. Obviously, as we mentioned, everyone has their own favorites and their reason for that choice. So why not leave a comment explaining what's yours and why?